So today we have Caroline Deeble, brand ambassador from Australia. She's the one that always shows us new, interesting ways of seeing the ground, seeing watercolors on glass. Probably there's a cool way to see a watercolor. Caroline's done it. And she's here to show us her artwork today. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You're so welcome. So you probably all have seen or heard from Caroline before. We're going to see some of her artwork. Is that correct, Ethel?
Yes, you got some new pieces ready.
Awesome.
And shall we proceed with that now?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll do the share screen. Okay, and for those who have not followed Caroline on her socials, please do check her out. She's on Instagram. It's the Lake House Studio for her handle. And of course, she's also on Facebook. She's got two pages, one page, and then of course we have the personal for Caroline Deeble, and then the beautiful website here. You'll find out more of her workshops and everything else about Caroline's journey, creative journey. And yeah, the next slides, Caroline, are the latest artworks. And as usual, we'd like to hear a line or two for each of these. We start with this one.
Sure. Okay, so this was an exciting journey playing with my watercolor sticks, aquatic landscapes, showing the diversity of a group of colors is so much more fun when you see them in a picture instead of seeing them as color swatches. So the aquatic landscape sticks are literally amazing to use, and painting aquatic landscapes in them is absolutely perfect. So fabulous triggerfish you can see is the main fish in that painting.
What size is this, Caroline?
That's a half sheet, so 38 by 55. This is another one that I really enjoyed painting this one. I painted it for the Australian Watercolour Muster, the big event that we had in Cairns, Queensland in September. And we were privileged to have a few wonderful brand ambassadors from around the world join us in Australia. And my contribution to that exhibition was this piece. And I painted it with the vision that we were going to the tropical north of Australia, and I like to paint rocks and water, and this one is reflecting a palm tree, which reflects the idea of the tropical north, where the painting was exhibited. This is one of my new ones. I call this After the Rain, because we've all been through moments of drought, and then the pleasure of seeing the fresh water flowing into those dry riverbeds is something that we can rejoice in as the earth gets rejuvenated by the new water and the new rains. But seeing that first fresh water come in, it's slightly muddy. It's got the silt wash moving with it down the stream, and you get this really lightness that happens with those first rains that come. So this reflects the rebirth of the season with the first rains of the season. This is a fun gouache one. I've tried to give a whole lot of gouache samples in my range this time. This one's actually inspired by Stella Canfield. She did this gorgeous, I think, lemons on a plate. And I thought, oh, I have to do something like Stella, because she always inspires me so much with her beautiful work. And so this was me playing with the gouaches and learning a little bit more about the layering of the gouache compared to how watercolor behaves. So just a nice little playful picture for a group work, demonstration concept to show people how amazing the Daniel Smith gouaches are.
And Caroline, something to say about it. Many people think gouache is so opaque and it's covering everything. Gouache can look transparent, just like watercolor. Look at that oranges, how transparent they look. So I do think it's a kind of it's misleading to say that gouache is totally opaque. It could look transparent.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you, Stella. You definitely inspired this particular work.
Thank you, sweetie.
Okay, this is really fun. I'm going to talk a little bit later in the session today about what happened here. I went to an amazing exhibition by Australian artist Cressida Campbell at the National Gallery of Australia. And in the foyer, the gallery staff had set up this wonderful giant still life display for artists to sit around and draw their own still life. So from that, I used the concept of Cressida Campbell to paint a gouache picture on a Japanese wood block and then engrave that wood block and then print it onto a piece of paper. So I was able to move the gouache from the wood block by moistening it onto a watercolor paper. And so I have a print of this picture as well as the original painting. This is a bit of fun. I think inspired by Marc Chagall, every artist that I came across that I adored, somehow in their journey, they've painted circuses. So I did a whole series of circus paintings with my students. And when you're playing around with the variation of watercolor and gouache together, the circus theme was a really nice subject to paint as demonstration work for my classes. So I've actually got 2 circus themed pictures I've put up today for you to sort of think about the variety of what you can paint with the combination of watercolor and gouache. And there's your second one. So, of course, you know, Dumbo the elephant is always a reminder, and those little caboose trains and the glowing lights of the circus tent and all the fun things. So it was a great, great exercise to do as a class activity. And I know every one of my students really, really enjoyed the journey of playing with watercolor and gouache together and using the circus as the theme for what we did. So that was just another demonstration. Not my normal style, I have to say. So I'm not necessarily an overly clever at all the aspects of this kind of work, but it was really fun to do. And I'm sure if I did more of it, I'll develop my skill in my drawing of cabooses, etc. So gouache again. The lightness of the sky in watercolor and the depth of the trees in gouache give almost a 3-dimensional feel to your artwork. So I've got something similar to show you today, and how dynamic, beautiful, you know, bold colours can be. And even in Australia, strangely enough, these are colours you actually see in gum trees in Australia. Up in the Cairns region where we were for the watercolour muster, there's a tree called a rainbow gum. If you want to Google that and look it up, they are incredibly beautiful gum trees with the most amazing colours in their barks. So this was a reflection of the colours that Australian gum trees can actually be. This was again from the Cressida Campbell exhibition. From that beautiful still life that the gallery staff set up, I took a whole series of photographs, and my students and I went on a journey to use Cressida Campbell's style to learn about painting some fun still life and to develop, you know, little themes. And a part of her exhibition was these giant, giant round paintings that were on the gallery walls. So I actually embossed circles in watercolor paper for my students, and we all went on a journey and painted a whole bunch of miniature still lifes in circles to reflect on the exhibition that inspired us.
That will be the last image here, Caroline.
Okay, sure.
Those were wonderful.
Bit of variety there.
Okay, so Caroline, I want to give you as much time as possible.
Sure. Fantastic. Okay. So Ethel, if you'd like to use my my desk cam and have a look what I've got on the desk, we'll have a little bit of an introduction to my watercolor sticks before we move into the gouaches today.
There you go. Oops.
Fantastic. Okay. So I feel extremely privileged. I've noticed I've got a slow cam for some reason. So I'll try and keep it still. Extremely privileged. Thank you very much, John, and to Catherine for the opportunity to be a brand ambassador with a set of colours. There's 4 of us that were invited to contribute to this particular new product range. The watercolour sticks is something that many people are just exploring and just you know, sort of waking up to a new way to look at their watercolour. Sticks that can travel, little stick cases that fit in your handbag, so you can do plein air with and a simple brush and a small, you know, water container, or even a traveling water brush, so you don't even necessarily have to have water with you, and you can paint anywhere. The my stick set is called Aquatic Landscapes, and you'll see through on my social media, I've got a lovely introduction video that you can view, which gives you a little bit more insight into what is in my set. So from my set, I found that my color card is what I based my set from, and looking at some of the favorite colors that I use frequently is what would I put in my set. So definitely my dot card was a foundation of information, which is also, I consider, a great mixing set for anybody looking for what do I buy, what do I need. Many of us brand ambassadors have spent hundreds of hours in the thought process to bring our sticks to life, and our sets and our dot cards to life. So, you know, looking up the brand ambassadors dot cards is a really, really good way to recommend what do you buy in your watercolor range. And through looking up the brand, yes,
Caroline, sorry. Just a quick check. I think this connection now is not just a little bit blurry, but it's really blurry. Like,
it's really blurry.
yeah. I'm wondering how convenient it is. I was just thinking whether we could use the other camera. We just flip it. Is that all right or convenient with you? We switch cam.
Yes, I will hold it up. Just go to me and I will hold up the items. Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
And
Okay.
we'll just put in another. Okay, here. We'll spotlight.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
Fantastic. Oh, that's so much better.
Yes.
I was looking at that thinking, is that my connection? Is that, what is that? I'm not sure what the problem is, but yes, my my second cam will give you this, but it will be a different kind of viewing. So I apologize to anybody that's been confusing. We're talking about the dot cards, and I have my own dot cards, which is a wonderful opportunity as a brand ambassador. This is something that we do a lot of exploration with. And as I said, highly recommend looking up all the different brand ambassadors dot cards. Looking at their art style and their artwork may reflect something that you get excited about, and therefore you may choose, you like Mike Rajat's dot card or Giovanni's dot card or Gabrielle's dot card. And we're all different, and we literally have spent hundreds of hours making a very, very hard decision of what are our 18 favorite colors. It's like going to a candy shop and saying you're only allowed to have one candy. It's really difficult. But yeah, lots of work in that one. So looking at my aquatic landscapes, a part of the reason why I came up with that color group is reflecting on the colors that I use frequently in my work. So I actually went through and found a lot of my artworks and decided what did I use most frequently and what would I benefit from as a set. So collecting sticks may reflect you as a person, or being inspired by one of the 4 brand ambassador sets, because they're all very different, may help you start that beautiful journey of watercolor sticks. So using the sticks can be actually a great exploration in looking at colorways and how different one similar picture can look by doing it in colorways. So these are the sorts of things that I explored when I was exploring the sticks. But I think we'll put the sticks aside now and we'll look at gouache, because gouache is such an exciting thing to play with, and it's relatively new. Even though we had the first series come out last year, the expansion of the series is magnificent. There's so many amazing new colours. And
Caroline?
in doing, yep.
Excuse me, I just wanted to ask, which colors of the sticks do you have in your set?
Sure, I have cobalt teal blue, phthalo turquoise, carbazole violet, neutral tint, and quinacridone gold.
Thank you.
okay.
Great choices.
That's okay. Yeah, I love my choices. And even though I always ask to check and recheck and recheck, are you sure? Are you sure? Every time I retested other varieties, I still went back to this group. So I'm very, very happy that I've selected this group. So yes, thank you very much.
Julie, we've also pasted in the chat a direct link to our page for the aquatic landscape set.
Okay, great.
Okay. So I'm going to take you on a little journey around the room in a minute, but I thought I would just show you some basics about these wonderful new colour palette that has been brought out by Daniel Smith. So thank you, John, for incredible variety of new gouaches that's happened. And a little tip for anybody, you can download a colour swatching page anywhere online. You just Google colour swatching blank and you can download it, print it on watercolour paper and create your own swatch card as such with your variety of collection of your gouaches or your watercolours. So that's a simple tip. The other tip I have for you is, can you see if I get really close? These are actual dot cards of gouaches. So if I want to check a colour, rather than find the tube and work out the colour, I can actually grab a little bit off my dot card and paint it next to me and decide, yes, that's the colour I want. So I've got an instant dot card of all of the gouaches available instantly for me or for my students to test the colour before we go and squeeze it out of the tube onto our tray to find that's not what we really wanted. So again, that's that pre-printed blank sample card. And then I've just literally filled in the card with my set of gouaches. So incredible range, beautiful colours, and so much more exploration still happening with this new range that's coming out. So very excited about that. How about we go on a journey around the room? I'm going to grab my camera and we're going to move and we'll take you and have a look at what's going on in this space. So pardon me for all the jiggling as I go, but we'll get there. And we might reverse that.
There we go.
And you can see what's going on in the room. So yeah, Caroline's studio space, it's always busy, always lots happening. But the things that I wanted to show you today are really cool. So I came across these wonderful little drawers that actually fit watercolor in really well. And I'm able to sort of set my sets up. And we talked a little bit yesterday about storing your tubes flat versus hanging your tubes. And different artists have different preferences. So I prefer to store my tubes flat. So those little drawers are fantastic. And something that I think is a really, really exciting journey is to actually look at books where you say, well, I really like certain paintings, and from a certain painting, how do you then determine the colours? So I then had a big play with what colours this artist may have used and came up with a palette, which I call the Australian Landscape Palette. So,
Caroline, can you turn the camera or the phone?
okay,
Thank you so much.
that better?
Yes.
Oh, because on my screen you looked normal, so thank you for telling me that. So you can see that I've looked at this beautiful picture by an artist in a book, Rick Armour, an Australian contemporary artist, and looked at what colours he may have used to create this beautiful landscape. And once I came up with those colours, I then looked at other artists. And another favourite, John Olsen, an Australian artist, and look at the colours. They're the same group of colours.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And I think that's really cool to actually establish not just liking their art, but what colours did they use to make that art successful? Another one, strangely very, very different, but yet it is the same group of colours. And if you have a look, as you break those colours down, adding slightly white, so you even got the pinks and the lighter greens and all the things that this artist used in that colour group. So Mavis Nangalameta, who's one of our lovely Indigenous artists in Australia. Mary Tonkin, I love Mary Tonkin's work. Another Australian artist. So looking,
Caroline, what
yes,
book are you flipping through? Someone is asking, what book are you
I'm
flipping
looking
through?
through a fantastic book called A Painted Landscape. It was put together by a group of current contemporary exhibiting artists in Australia, and they came together and created this beautiful book, and they all contributed. So it's a wonderful book that's available online. You can buy it. I can even put up the details if anybody wants to look it up on one of the bookstores. But the idea is, this is something that I do often with my students in my workshops, is don't steal somebody's painting, is steal their colours. And from their colour groups, you can create your own. Yeah. I think it's a really, really cool thing, because you're learning so much from them by exploring their work. Again, look at this amazing one. And that shows you the same colour group is used by all of these artists that I'm flipping through. And so it's very easy to say that this is the colours of Australia, because I was able to show you all those Australian artists in one book, and they've all used that same colour group. So beautiful collection of colours of Australia, and all in gouaches. And I've done that wonderful test card of breaking the colours down and mixing the colours and the variety of colours you can mix with this group of 7 colours, which is, yeah, lots and lots of fun to do that. But I was going to show you this exciting thing about Cressida Campbell. So Cressida Campbell's beautiful exhibition was on at the National Gallery of Australia. And as a part of my art group, we all went on a journey together, and we actually enjoyed her exhibition so much. I think each of us went at least 3 times, maybe 5 times to this exhibition. It was so impressive. And believe it or not, she's a watercolour artist. But what she does is she paints a original painting on a giant wood block, and then she prints it. And so we thought we'd go on that same journey and actually print a Cressida Campbell style image. So my students we bought Japanese wood block, and the wood block we painted and we carved, as you do with the Japanese wood block. And from that, we then printed an original piece of art. So this painting is 2 paintings when you see both the wood block and the print from the wood block. So that's all done with gouache. That's what gouache can do, because it re-wets so well, and it was a perfect product for doing Japanese wood block printing. So, and thanks to Cressida Campbell, she inspired us. So these are the paintings that you saw up online just before, of the still lifes that we did that were inspired by the exhibition. So I always find that idea of inspiration from exhibitions is something that we all do as artists. We go to exhibitions, we get excited. Where do you take it? What do you do? Well, take the ideas, learn from it, and take it further. So I've pulled out a whole lot of bits and pieces today so that you can see the idea of what gouache can do. So have a look at that windowsill. Wow.
And if you jump online and look up Angus McEwen, who is a brand ambassador for Daniel Smith, he's got the most amazing tutorial on how to do that wonderful effect in watercolor. But I've actually used gouache for mine. And it's a wonderful trick. And I dare you to jump on YouTube, look up Angus McEwen and see if you can see his trick about how he makes that wonderful effect with watercolor or gouache. I was chatting to him while we were exploring it, and he was sort of giving me tips. He was so helpful. It was really wonderful.
Caroline,
The other thing,
the curtains on that last painting, is that gouache? Is the entire painting gouache?
the entire painting is gouache, yes.
That's
Brilliant.
beautiful, Caroline.
The curtains
look, you know
are
what?
impressive.
I was playing with texture and effect and light. The curtains are actually done with a whole new technique that I've been teaching my students, which we actually print the curtains onto the page using a cellophane, and then we decorate the curtains.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a just technique.
Caroline, I have one more question for you. I'm sure it's been asked before, but do you have a book out yet or a blog where you go over all your exploration, all your techniques?
You're an amazing artist, Caroline.
Thank you.
The students are lucky. Your students are lucky.
Thank you so much. I know they tell me that too, because there's not many people that are so playful with their art variety, and I love to explore. So I'm constantly doing new and different things. So this one is painted the gouache
That's what
on
we
black.
love about you, Caroline. You're fearless and jumping out there and exploring.
That's
true.
true.
So looking at the gouache on the black and how beautiful that is. No, it's actually just a black watercolor paper.
Okay.
It's the Fabriano black. But how dynamic is that gouache on that paper?
And that's all gouache?
It's so beautiful. That's all gouache, yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. No, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. So we were looking at this painting before, so we don't have to discuss that one again, because thank you, Stella. That was the inspiration. And of course, the circus ones. You can see that beautiful little clown's face. See the gouache that's on his face. It's so much fun doing circus things. So thank you, Marc Chagall, for the inspiration for the circus pictures. Even though I did them my own way, not quite as wild as Marc Chagall's, a little bit more controlled. But yeah, first attempts for me for circus painting. So there you go. But a fun subject to paint, something a bit different.
Do you cut your mats as well?
No, I have my framer do it. I just order lots of them all the time, so I have plenty of mats in stock.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is the Australian gum trees. You can see the gouache in the strokes. You can see the watercolor sky and how transparent that is, and the difference of the gouache on the surface. So definitely something that you can explore the variety of your watercolor, and then adding some gouache layers to your watercolor.
I like this one, Caroline.
You like that one? Okay. Do you like this one? Robert Kushner inspired. I love Robert Kushner's work. And so the idea of actually using gouache quite lightly, so it's almost transparent, and then using it heavy to actually do the tracing and the extra drawing over your work. So you can do a variety of different effects with the gouache, as transparent as you want with lots of water, or as opaque as you want with less water. This particular one I did a little while ago, and I just love this painting.
Are these for sale, Caroline?
Yeah, I love the one.
Yeah, they're all for sale. Of course. Yeah, I particularly love this painting. It's just one of those ones that every time I look at it, I just feel happy. I love what happened with it. Look at the wonderful little birds and the gouache on the birds. So the background and the first layer of this one, you can see in this area here, the lightness, and in the sky, that's actually watercolor. And it's all the decorative features on top of the work that you do with the gouache. And you get this wonderful, I don't know, there's just this wonderful togetherness of gouache and watercolor when you can layer up a piece like this. So yeah, I love this particular piece of art.
Caroline,
yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but that last painting.
Yes.
So if someone wanted to have, like, how did you choose those groupings of colors for this painting?
I think things like that come from that exploration of finding a book, finding artwork you like, and sampling off the color group because you love the colors in a painting. And so that helps me. So I often swatch groups of colors from other artists' work, and then I use that group of colors to develop something of my own.
Caroline?
Very
Yes.
nice. Hello.
Yes,
We have
Angela.
a question here. Michelle wants
Sure.
to know. She says, love the wood block. How do you re-wet the paint to keep it so clean? And she says, Michelle from Ireland.
So I found like my whole group of artists did this in my studio, and some of them did use different brands of gouache, and many of them used the Daniel Smith gouaches with me here in the studio. And we found that the Daniel Smith gouache, if you gave it a light spray after it's dry and finished, you gave it a light spray and let the water seep in, and then you did a hand print. So you're actually printing on the surface just using a trying to remember the name of it. Using basically a printer's tool where you just rub the surface of the paper.
A brayer. Someone says a brayer. Oh, your voice.
If you don't
We're
have too
losing
much
you.
moisture, but enough trial and error when you. Yeah. Okay. A brayer, definitely. Yeah. Thank
We're
you. Thank
losing
you. That
you.
was the word I was. Can you
Caroline,
hear me?
can you go?
Yes.
Can you go nearer to the door, maybe, or because it's starting to crack your voice.
I think it's back now.
Let's see. Does that make a difference if I move the shape, move the position?
You're good now.
Okay.
No, you're okay. Your signal
Look
is now okay, I
outside.
think.
The sun has risen. It's not dark anymore.
Good morning.
My
Good
favorite
morning.
place.
You can see my lake over my shoulder. Yeah.
What time is in Aussie now,
Fantastic.
Caroline?
It's now 6:07 a.m.
Wow.
So early morning,
And it's
sunrise.
summertime there.
That's a painting right there.
Yeah. I keep telling you, Gabrielle, when you come and stay with me, you're going to paint lots of plein air just off my deck. Angela
I
will
won't
attest
sleep.
to that.
And what about others? What about others, Caroline?
No, the others no.
Oh,
The
yes,
others no.
yes, you're most welcome to join me. But I only have a limited amount of spare bedrooms, okay?
All right. Caroline loves me more, guys.
No back in the studio.
I am coming with Gabrielle, Caroline.
Okay.
And maybe Angela can
Oh,
join.
we could be bunkmates. Yeah.
You could be. You could be. Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
What kind of wood do you use for wood blocks?
Sorry, what was that?
What kind of wood do you use for wood blocks?
Oh, I ordered special Japanese wood block from an art supplier, and they're imported from Japan. So I don't know what sort of wood it is. It was just very specific, the product that I chose. It's a really fine, beautiful, fine wood that's really dense, and it doesn't splinter when you carve into it like other woods would. So it's been designed especially for Japanese woodblock printing. So I think any art store, if you inquire, or if you look online, you'll see the same sort of product.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
How
you're
long
most
did-
welcome.
I've got eucalyptus locally, and I didn't know whether that was what you were using, but I thought
No,
probably no.
yeah, I look.
How long does it take you to learn how to carve the wood?
Oh, that was really easy because it's like lino block printing. So if you have lino tools or you have a bezel, which you can carve with a bezel, electronic carving tool, like an engraving tool you might use to engrave your name on something. That sort of thing. It's very easy. And it doesn't take long at all.
Do you have one in your studio by chance that you can show us?
Do I have
Do you have
wood
one of
block?
your wood blocks or one of your prints handy there?
Yeah, that's what I was just showing you before. So hang on.
That was the actual block. I'm sorry, let me get my
Yes.
glasses on. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Show us
So
your
this is-
wood.
Show us your wood.
the
Okay.
The opposite side.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to spin the camera again. Okay, so this is Japanese wood block.
So that's the actual block.
That's
Oh
the
my-
actual block. See, it's only
Oh
really
my
thin,
goodness.
Wow.
and it's
Okay.
really, really fine. Really beautiful, fine wood. But it's
Thank you.
designed for wood block printing. And
Oh,
you'll see
it's
that I
like-
carved.
It looks like a
carved
piece of
into the-
artwork in itself. It's beautiful.
Well, it is. It really is.
You get 2 for
Yeah.
1.
You get 2 for 1. Definitely. So, yeah, there you go. Sorry?
So can I ask, theoretically, you could wash this off
Yes.
and paint another picture using this your same incised lines,
Yes.
but in a totally different palette.
Yes. Theoretically, you're absolutely correct.
Can we see them side by side?
Can we see them side by side? Yes. You'll see the print is much lighter. The print is much lighter. Can you see the lines where I've carved the white spaces?
And all the
love the print.
texture.
Yeah.
The grain of the paper.
Yeah.
Love
The grain of the
pictures.
paper, you can see. Yeah, so you can see, like, it's such an exciting journey and something really different to sort of, expand that whole watercolor gouache thing into even printmaking.
Wow.
That's
And
beautiful.
and it was all
Caroline?
inspired by Cressida Campbell. So there is actually
Caroline, how many copies you are able to do?
I could only do one print because by the time you've done one, you've released so much of the paint from the board that it doesn't have enough to release more.
The second one is called a ghost print. It's really light.
You could do a ghost. Some of my students actually did a second print because their painting was a lot heavier. The quantity of gouache they put on their work.
And then
So
you can
different,
paint. And then you can
Exactly.
paint on the top of the ghost print.
Exactly. Yes, I
Yeah,
can really.
actually, yes.
I've printed it
Caroline?
on watercolor paper, so I can actually touch this up if I want to.
Yeah.
And in fact, Cressida Campbell, in fact, she does that. If you get online to the National Gallery of Australia and look up Cressida Campbell, there's a whole video on the process that she did to produce these kind of works. So, yeah, like I said, she really inspired us. We took it on our own journey. And the images that we used were based on the photographs that I took of the still life displays that the gallery staff set up for the audience to come and draw from. It was a wonderful exhibition and lots of interactivity as a part of the exhibition. So again, Cressida Campbell, this is her.
That was
She's
so
the one who
beautiful.
inspired us. Okay.
Caroline?
So
Yes.
is this considered a monoprint woodcut?
Monoprint.
Yes, I would say it would be considered a monoprint, absolutely. Except the bonus is that the original is still a good painting. Whereas normally a monoprint you lose. If you do a monoprint from most surfaces, you lose the painting from the surface. Yeah.
You know your block? Have you thought
Yes.
about using lino print with Daniel Smith's watercolor ground over it?
No, I haven't.
That
I've
might work.
It could work.
You do
Yeah.
the painting onto it. Well, obviously once
Yes.
it's dried, and then do your
Yes.
as you would do with your wood block.
Yes. I
It's
have
easier
done.
to work a line or cut.
True. I don't know. The ground is actually quite tough, and how that would carve, I'm not sure. I haven't experimented with carving the watercolor ground because it's actually quite a strong product. Yeah. Anyway, there's so much exciting stuff that happens when Caroline's mind goes, "Wow, let's try this." And so we all give it a go, and I have these wonderful students that just happily tail along and do whatever I ask, and I get all these wonderful experiences, not just through my work, but through my students' work. I learn from them while they explore my ideas. So, you know, I really appreciate their trust in me to take them on these wild journeys in watercolor and gouache. So fun. So I was just leaning towards the other pictures that I have. We looking at gouache and how gouache can be, I think Stella mentioned it, it can be transparent and translucent, or it can be heavy. And this is one of those pictures where you build up the depth from a transparency to a heaviness with simply paint daubs. And as a Australian artist, Grace Cossington Smith, who is a 1920s, 1930s artist in Australia. Through that Art Deco period, she became quite famous for her work. And this is a style that she paints in. She paints in little daubs to build up the colour. So a bit bigger than the pointillists, with a bigger stroke, but the concept is similar to a pointillist painting. So that's fun in gouache.
This would make a great puzzle.
It would make a great puzzle, it would. And then, of course, I don't know who, as an artist that teaches, that hasn't come across Esther McLeod, the English artist that paints wild, fun scenes, and then she fills in the scenes with a gouache. So you can see the way the gouache actually helps to bring the painting alive by putting that gouache layer over the watercolour painting. So this is my version of looking up through the lily pond from under the water. You can see the birds flying around in the sky above the water, and we're looking up through the lily pond. So it's an imagination thing, and it's fun. I think we looked at that one. We looked at that one. We looked at those. Oh, we're down to the exciting sampling things. So I wanted to show you this particular picture. Can you see what I've done? Half of this picture.
Two different color combos.
No. It's watercolor. This is all watercolor. And this is wonderful granulation with the lunar black. And it's quite cool in itself. But adding a gouache layer, look what it did.
Oh,
I
see.
All right. Half has got gouache and this half is the underpainting.
Oh. Oh, so you painted on top of the watercolor?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You can see this is all gouache. This side's all gouache.
Wow.
But it's still got the watercolor background, and this side's still the original watercolor. You can see the difference between putting gouache in your foreground and watercolor in your background.
Wow.
Now you're really making it hard.
I love the colors, Caroline. Such a beautiful.
That is really lovely.
Now you have to have both watercolor and gouache.
Everybody needs watercolor and gouache. I promise you, you're gonna love
And
it.
sticks.
Absolutely love it. And
One of them
sticks.
just looks granulated.
Well, the sticks are our journeying
Caroline, I
into.
love the palette of colors you used in gouache part. It's so beautiful, huh? I love the composition how you did it. Very beautiful. I love it.
Because she used your palette.
It's
That's
in
it. See, I don't steal your artwork, I steal your palette.
Oh, really?
So much
Mine or Gabriel's?
Didn't Picasso say something about that?
Oh, yes, I think he did. And I love Picasso. And I love him because of that, not because of his artwork necessarily, but because of his exploration and his mind of, you know, intrigue to see what's going to work and all the different surfaces and yeah.
Caroline, you also Picasso is your favorite artist. I also love Picasso.
Yeah, I do. And like I said, I don't necessarily like all his artwork, but I really love his exploration, and I really love the way
he was a
channeled
genius.
ideas. He was. Yeah, so he is genuinely a big inspiration to me for so many reasons.
We're coming full circle with watercolour, because before 20th century, people used to paint quite opaquely with watercolour. And
Yes.
it went away from that trend to more transparency, but now we're coming back round.
Yes, definitely. And
More
I'm not a
use of opaque.
traditionalist. Yeah, I don't paint any traditional watercolor. I use watercolor in a really, really very contemporary and new way. And I hope that really excites the younger audience to open their minds
That's
to
true.
watercolor.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if some people would put in the chat what one thing you learned today from Caroline that you would like to try. Put that in the chat.
Thank you, Gabrielle. That's a great question, and I'd love to hear those responses.
Is that Ian?
That's a lovely idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
I too love rocks, Caroline. So I'm gonna do rocks in a stream.
Yeah.
From my imagination.
Gouache.
I've just finished a whole series of works for France. I have to show you some of them. They're under my pile here. There's all sorts of things. I will open these up and you can see rocks in streams.
Oh, beautiful. I can see them. Yeah.
Yes.
My favorite colors. There they are.
There's that one.
Yeah.
What was the name? What was the name of the gum that was so colorful that you mentioned?
Gum tree.
Yeah, the
gum
tree.
tree. It's called a rainbow. Rainbow gum.
Okay,
Rainbow
thank you very
gum.
much.
You look
I
that
just,
up.
I love your
love
gum
that one.
trees.
I love that one.
Love the urchins too.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yes, definitely. Hey, I did
And I
something
love the
really different
rocks
this week.
also.
I painted cold water, frozen water. I haven't done that before. This is very new, a new journey, painting frozen water. And of course, the Aegean, the colours of the Aegean Ocean just so excited me when I went to Croatia. They're just the most magnificent, magnificent blues.
Wow.
And of course, Australian rivers and streams, you can see into the water and you can see the leaves floating and oh my gosh,
Beautiful.
love that.
Wow.
Wow. Do you use a lot of Primitex here?
Yes,
Oh my
some
gosh, that's
Primitex.
beautiful.
And then I
Carol-
love ocean. So
Caroline, may I
another
ask
ocean
something?
picture.
That is
Caroline,
Thank you.
Beautiful.
may I ask something, Caroline?
Yes, of course. Please, go ahead.
Oh, we lost them.
Was that Erkan that was asking?
Erkan, yes.
Yes,
Go ahead,
yes.
Erkan.
Caroline did
Caroline,
use the pen.
I want to
recall.
want to ask, you use wood blocks.
Yes.
How is the color pigment blending in comparison with cotton papers? The same?
I think it's a good question. Wood block, obviously, because I use gouache. Gouache is more solid, so I didn't have it. Just painted like it was on a canvas. It didn't behave any differently. If I use watercolor, it would have been different because it would have wanted to have so much more water, so therefore it would want to bleed. So the gouache was my friend doing the wood block work.
Okay. Thank you, Caroline.
That's okay. You're most welcome.
My experience of printing, it's better printed onto specific paper that's made for printing.
Sure.
It is better to try and get on the proper printing paper if you can.
Yeah, I think I used watercolor paper because I thought if we needed to touch them up, we had the watercolor paper that we could use, you know, normally with the size in it.
More like
but otherwise, yeah. Yes, yes. So many things, so many things. I always have too much to talk about, don't I?
Thank you for sharing. I mean, you're really being very
Open up the possibilities.
generous with your time and ideas.
You're most welcome.
You inspire me.
As Gabriel asked, what are you inspired about? For me, it's painting the underwaters, the beautiful waters in the northern part of Australia near Cairns.
Yes.
I wasn't lucky enough to see them, but you inspired me a lot to try and paint them. Thank you.
Do you want to see the fish tank while you're here? The fish
Yes.
tank. Oh, no,
Yes.
the lights aren't on yet. I can't show you. It's they go on a timer, and we can't see it. I'll show you what's going on. See, it's all dark in there.
Ah.
The fish tank is my husband's hobby. You have to wait. You have to wait till the lights go on, and it's so beautiful and so colourful.
Yeah.
So we have
a
whole coral reef.
into feng shui?
I have a whole coral reef in my studio, so that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's 5,000
turn the studio
litres of
lights
water.
out. If you turn the studio lights out and use your camera, we should see the fish.
No, you won't, because they're in a very thick. It's 5,000 litres of water, and the glass is about an inch thick. And because because they're on a timer, I can't change. I can't just turn the lights on. So perhaps another day, or perhaps you'll see it on one of my other Facebook posts or something like that. You'll see the fish tank, but it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
And he's growing it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It is like a real coral reef. I can confirm
It
that.
is. It is like a real coral reef.
I dream of coming back to the Great Barrier
Beautiful.
Reef. It's been 30 years, 35 years since I was there.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I'm in Canberra, not near a coral reef, but you're most welcome. Look me up. Tell me you're in town.
Thanks, Caroline.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great.
Are we going to have breakfast now?
Oh,
right?
maybe. I need another coffee. I'm still half waking up.
Lunchtime.
Thank you, early bird.
All
I'm
good.
go. Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much.
Very inspiring.
Caroline,
Thank you. So great to be here.
Thank you for being up so early.
I know, right?
So thank you. You're so energetic.
Go, Caroline.
I got up at 3:30 a.m. for this, so I'm right.
Oh my gosh. You need to take a nap now.
Absolutely. 2 cups of
The busy, crazy mind of Caroline.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
John, and thank you,
Caroline.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, John.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.